What if Luka Doncic and Trae Young never got traded for each other? We're in the 2018 season. As you can see, we got Trae Young on the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic on the Atlanta Hawks. Y'all know how dominant Russell Westbrook back in 2018 was. He wins the MVP. Luka Doncic ends up winning the Rookie of the Year over Trae Young. So already he's having a better start to his career than Trae. They both ended up making the All-Rookie first team, as y'all can see though. The Atlanta Hawks in the first season completely fell out of the playoffs. They are the 14th seed, one of the worst teams in the NBA. And then on the other side, the Dallas Mavericks are also one of the worst teams. Looking at these stats, Luka Doncic could have really averaged a triple-double in the first season. And then for Trae Young, he's not that far behind, averaging 22 and 8 assists. Y'all know he's not going to get any rebounds. He's like 5'2". The Oklahoma City Thunder ended up winning the NBA championship, and Paul George wins the finals MVP. The Dallas Mavericks ended up not doing anything in the offseason, but Trae Young bumped up to a 90 overall. Luka Doncic is now a 92 overall in the second season. They ended up drafting a 19-year-old RJ Barrett to pair up with Luka Doncic for the future. They still have DeAndre Hunter, who's 22 years old. Donovan Mitchell wins the MVP, averaging 38, 5 and 4. Are you serious? Luka Doncic ends up making All-NBA third team. Trae Young is nowhere to be found, despite Luka Doncic averaging 23, 8 and 9, and Trae Young averaging 25 and 8. Their teams missed the playoffs for the second straight season. Los Angeles Lakers have won the NBA championship, and I'm guessing LeBron James is the finals MVP. In the third season, it looks like Trae Young has the same roster. They did add Jalen Brunson, Iman Shumpert, and I think they added Alex Caruso, which is good. The other side though, Luka Doncic still has a way better team. By mid-season of the third season, Luka Doncic made the All-Star team as a starter. Trae Young did not make it. Luka Doncic also wins the All-Star Game MVP, so he already has a lot of awards in his young career, and Trae Young has none. I'm pretty sure this is the 2020 season, but yeah, in the 2020 season, Luka Doncic ends up winning the MVP. Luka Doncic ends up making the All-NBA first team, and I think Trae Young might make a All-NBA team. He's not on the second team though, and he's not on the All-NBA third team. I don't even know how Trae Young didn't make any All-NBA teams. For the season, he averaged 27 and 10, and despite him averaging those numbers, his team ended up missing out on the playoffs. Luka Doncic ended up carrying the Atlanta Hawks to the second seed, going up against the 7th-seeded Pistons with an 87 overall Blake Griffin. Luka Doncic was just too much in game 1, dropping 23, 7 and 11. But game 2, Blake Griffin and company respond and end up stealing one on the road. So now the series is tied at 1-1. It was a back and forth game in game 3. But the Atlanta Hawks end up pulling it off and end up beating the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons did not stop fighting though, tying the series at 2 apiece now. Where is Luka in the starting lineup? We're about to go into game 3 and I don't see him. Why is Tremont Waters there? Oh my god, Luka Doncic is out 1 to 2 weeks with a hyperextended left elbow. They're tied at 2-2. This is probably the worst time to be injured. Without Luka on the team, the Hawks are in trouble, and hopefully they clutch the series up without Luka, which ended up not happening. And the Utah Jazz end up winning the NBA championship. Donovan Mitchell is the finals MVP. It's the 2021-2022 season. Luka Doncic actually has some good teammates. RJ Barrett, DeAndre Hunter bumped up to an 85 overall. They drafted a Kongwu. He's at 80 overall. Now, a lot of people argue that in real life, Trae Young has the better team. So the point of this whole entire simulation was to see if Trae Young can carry some scrubs like Luka did. Because the Mavericks, honestly, they never had a good team around Luka. And as y'all can see though, Trae Young has not been able to do that. Luka Doncic finally got his triple-double average. He won the MVP once again. Also, Trae Young did not make a All-NBA team once again, as y'all can see. And that's really due to him just having an absolutely horrible team. I mean, because look at what he's doing. He's averaging 37 and 11. He's trying his best. Luka Doncic and the Hawks are facing Zion Williamson, LaMelo Ball, and the New York Knicks. They were way too much for the Hawks, sadly. They won the series 4-1, and Luka loses in the first round once again. It's now the 2022 season. Trae Young still has the same trash roster, but they ended up actually drafting Chet Holmgren. So him and Chet in the future should do really good together. And then on the other side, Luka Doncic still has the same good team. Luka Doncic once again wins the MVP. Oh, and let's go! Trae Young is finally on an All-NBA team. But I'm not even gonna question how he made that. Alright, so this is actually kind of weird. I'm thinking that he made the All-NBA first team because his team's record is good, but guess what? They're the 15th seed once again. I really feel bad for Trae Young. So the Atlanta Hawks are the 3rd seed. They're going up against the 6th seed Brooklyn Nets. I want to see who they have. Stephen Curry. Atlanta Hawks ended up stealing 2 games on the road, and they're now up 2-0. They're back at home looking to bring the brooms out. And that's exactly what ended up happening. The Atlanta Hawks ended up beating the Brooklyn Nets, and they move on to the second round. They have the Washington Wizards next. Despite the Washington Wizards trying their hardest, they were no match for Luka Doncic and the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks are going up against the #1 seeded Miami Heat. The series is now 3-2. The Miami Heat are up. It's game 6. Luka Doncic and the Hawks are looking to tie it up and move on to game 7. And that did not end up happening. San Antonio Spurs ended up winning the NBA championship, and Giannis is on that team. Oh my god. Wait, so Trae Young won the MVP. He's averaging 37 and 12. Absolutely insane. Luka Doncic won it last year, so the two players we're doing a video on, bro, they both end up getting an MVP. And so they may know, I don't see Luka. I really thought they both made it, but only Trae Young made the All-NBA first team. Luka Doncic is nowhere to be found. For some reason, with these numbers, Luka Doncic fell out of the All-NBA team. The Dallas Mavericks are showing signs of improvement finally, bro. They bumped up a spot. Now they're the 13th seed. For the longest, they were the 14th and the 15th seeds. On the other side, the Atlanta Hawks and Luka Doncic end up making the playoffs. Once again, they're one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. They have been for the last couple years, but Luka still has not won an NBA championship, despite his team being one of the best teams for like 4 years in a row. We're in the 2024 season now. Trae Young finally actually has a solid team. Chet Holmgren, he went up to an 83 overall. And then on the other side, Luka Doncic still has the same good team. Doncic wins the MVP once again, but both Trae Young and Luka Doncic ended up making the All-NBA first team. So the Dallas Mavericks actually made the playoffs. I kind of had a feeling with the upgraded roster that they had. On the other side, the Atlanta Hawks are still dominating. They are the first seed, but no championship. They're literally looking like the Utah Jazz when Rudy and Donovan Mitchell were playing for them. Dallas is going up against the Sacramento Kings. They are the first seed. They have Shea. And then the Atlanta Hawks are facing the Miami Heat. The Atlanta Hawks were way too much for the Miami Heat. They ended up moving on to the second round and beat them 4-2. In game 7, it looks like the Sacramento Kings were way too much for the Dallas Mavericks, and Trae Young gets eliminated in the first round, bro. Atlanta Hawks are facing the Philadelphia 76ers. Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, and Joel Embiid are on the team. Oh my goodness. They're probably gonna get eliminated. How, bro? It's like every year there are the first seed, third seed, second. It doesn't even matter what seed. There are the higher seed. Every year they're one of the higher seeds, and they end up losing. Trae Young ends up winning the MVP once again. He's now a 2-time, or I think a 3-time. I'm not 100% sure. They both make it to the All-NBA first team. Both of their stats are literally identical except for the rebounds, and Trae's averaging more points. So Trae Young and the Dallas Mavericks are the third seed, bro. They definitely rebuilt through the draft. They have Chet Holmgren now. They've been winning a lot of games. Chet Holmgren developed, Miller developed now. And on the other side, the Atlanta Hawks and Luka Doncic, for some reason, they are the 13th seed. They are one of the worst teams in the league, and I think they had like a 12-game losing streak. Trae Young is going up against Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Giannis and Jokic were just way too much for Trae and Chet. Again, we go into another NBA season. Trae Young is now 28 years old, no championships. On the other side, Luka Doncic is now 21 years old. DeAndre Hunter still on the team, but RJ Barrett ended up leaving in free agency. Luka Doncic ends up winning the MVP. So every year it's like it's either Luka or Trae, Luka or man. Listen, even though Luka won it way more. And so for some reason, Trae Young did not make it to the All-NBA first team. I think he made it to the All-NBA second team, as y'all can see. Atlanta Hawks ended up as the 8th seed, so definitely a huge improvement. And then on the other side, the Dallas Mavericks are the 3rd seed, one of the best teams in the league. So it looks like the Milwaukee Bucks are gonna go ahead and sweep the Atlanta Hawks. They're down 3-0 so far, and yeah. Also on the other side, the Houston Rockets have a 3-1 lead against the Dallas Mavericks. They are the 3rd seed. How is this happening? How can Luka and Trae Young drop all those numbers, win MVP every year, be the 3rd, 2nd, or 1st seed, and not win an NBA championship, bro? The simulation is just not rocking with them at all, and the Dallas Mavericks also get eliminated. Luka and Trae at this point are 29 years old. Most people were calling that trade in 2018 a robbery, but neither led their teams to a championship in this simulation, and things would not get better for both Trae Young and Luka Doncic as their teams miss out on the playoffs literally every single season. And while they're still dropping good numbers, they're slowly regressing, and their teams also keep on losing. Luka Doncic and Trae Young regressed by a lot now, and it's not like they have bad teammates on their team. They have a bunch of guys that are over 80 overall or around 80 overall. Their averages also completely went down, and their careers are almost done as they're about 35 years old now. And for their final season of their careers, they end up missing the playoffs once again as the last seed, which is insane. They did not win an NBA championship at all. As far as who won the trade between Luka and Trae Young, to be honest, it's a win-win in my eyes. Both in real life went to a conference finals. Until somebody wins a championship, I can't say one team won or one team lost. Even though Luka is a better individual player, it takes way more than individual performances to win an NBA championship in today's league. You need help. You need help. You need help. You need help in today's age if you're a superstar. So